Hey everybody, welcome to the Sky Lounge, and this is Sky High, episode number 54 on 420, motherfuckers. However you are celebrating today, do it at home in the comfortable confines of your cave, like I'm doing right now. And on 420, boys and girls, to make a super long story short, I wanted to normalize my sleeping schedule, so I went zero dark 30 on everything, social media, including The Last Dance, which I've been hyping up for myself for so long. But I figured, hey, sleep, get some fucking sleep at night, and wake up in the morning. And so did that, and so here we are, sitting nice and early on Monday, and having just watched The Last Dance episode 1 and 2, I gotta say, ESPN does a hell of a job with their documentary series, as always. I mean, if you ever watch any of their 30 for 30 shit, it's absolutely brilliant what they do with their sports ball narrative. And watching Michael Jordan in this documentary series just kind of reminds me so much of Kobe Bryant, and how in my lifetime Kobe Bryant was my Michael Jordan, because I came to this country in 1998, the summer of 1998, where Michael Jordan played, at that point, his last season of basketball with the Bulls. And coming into this country, I didn't know anything about basketball, and lo and behold, you live in Los Angeles, you learn about the Lakers, and then you live through the three-peat. You grow and see Kobe Bryant, going alongside with you in his career, and you just have this gravity and love towards the Lakers. I mean, that personally, that's for me. But watching MJ just reminds you of how impactful an athlete can be, to everyday people like you and me. And it's crazy. Because speaking of Kobe, we felt his impact all throughout this weekend. Even when you're watching The Last Dance, I mean, especially as a Lakers fan, I can tell you right now, I'm constantly reminded of Kobe Bryant because of how Michael Jordan carries himself and how Kobe Bryant in similar fashion carried himself. And to see basketball now transform into this, global sport, an all-around sport, an all-gender sport, really, it's pretty cool to watch. And then the WNBA draft happened on Friday. It's pretty apparent that, Kobe's impact on the game of sports and the game of basketball specifically was real, was immense. And the WNBA announced they will have an annual Kobe and Gigi Bryant Advocacy Award, and they had some honorary draft picks for 2020. Number 14, Peyton Chester. Number 5, Alyssa Altobelli. And number 2, Gianna Bryant. A great gesture on the part of the WNBA. Even though, the WNBA gets a lot of unfair criticism against them, I feel, based on, basketball fans who aren't intelligent enough to understand that the sport isn't just about the one gender, right? Although, yeah, absolutely, you can argue the quality of basketball is completely different, because it's two different genders, guys. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty, although I can. And give it time, kids. This quarantine might drag out for a while, so I might have actual time to do that. I gotta fucking sit down with a board, perhaps. And I will argue, despite the low ratings and low numbers, the WNBA is actually pretty interesting to watch. Fundamentals are all there. The 3-point shooting on some of these women are unbelievable. And form and techniques and technical abilities all are transferable and comparable, I think, in across all genders. And what was apparent coming into this WNBA draft was the number 1 overall pick in Sabrina. Oh my God, I keep butchering her name. Ioenscu, fuck. Sabrina. I have triple doubles all the time. Gets selected number 1 overall by the New York Liberty. And pretty sure the Liberty are looking to have a franchise altering player like Sabrina to maybe make New York a more hospitable sports place. Oh God, yeah, I know. That's a shout at the Yankees too, isn't it? Yeah. Shut up, God, New York sports fans, dude. You could argue that New York sports ball and Los Angeles sports ball fans are perhaps the most annoying in all the sports ball categories, all throughout. You know, the LA landscape, they got the Lakers, the Dodgers. If you're extending to the NHL, you got the Kings, all successful franchises. And there's a bit of that West Coast arrogance that comes in where, you know, in terms of sports, you know, California has been discounted for quite some time throughout the decades, and only recently coming into prominence through, I would say, the last 6 decades, right? More recent history, you know, it's now more recent history is now history too, which is crazy. That's why they have a whole Michael Jordan documentary series, a 10-parter, which is on ESPN and available to purchase on ESPN Plus. God, such a terrible fucking plug if I had to do one. It really is. So ESPN Plus it's for idiots like me who have no tolerance and patience for ads. So, instead of being the dipshit who waits throughout the ads, I'm the dipshit who pays for the ads and forward. So that's essentially what you do with these premium subscription services. But hell, it gives me decent updates on sports ball like this, and it was pretty cool to watch the WNBA from the couch in the virtual setting, where this week, starting Thursday, the NFL is going to have their virtual draft going on, which is it's really embarrassing. Not embarrassing, it's really depressing. It is depressing to think about. A virtual setting for the NFL draft, but safety precautions have to be taken, despite the fact that there are a lot of people who would argue against taking precautionary measures against the invisible enemy. Yeah, COVID-19 is a scam. It's a lie created by the government. Bill Gates is behind everything. He's done this since the 90s. Jesus Christ, dude. All right. Yeah, apparently you don't need weed to say stupid shit. I will say, though, conspiracy theories are fascinating. They're absolutely fascinating. Because despite how outlandish and crazy they are, within the murkiness of it all, sometimes you find truths, and I think that's kind of hilarious and ultimate payoff if you look into conspiracy theories, right? And then years later, or decades later, or however many fucking years later it takes for that conspiracy to unveil itself, it's like, oh shit, there was truth to it all along. Oh my god. But yeah, it's kind of curious to see really this kind of emergence of basketball through an amateur standpoint, like this emergence of visibility of amateur basketball, and how social media is really perpetuating this fascination with it. And despite the numbers telling you otherwise in terms of viewers and ratings and all that. The NBA is, and basketball and as a whole, looks to be constantly evolving within itself. And that brings us to an interesting story. Number one high school recruit, Jalen Green, is set to join the G League for a $500,000 contract. Yeah, when you see news like that, a kid foregoing college to take a shot at the G League and essentially a straight shot a year later into the NBA is pretty crazy. And this whole team that he's going to is going to be a brand new team within the G League, I believe. And man, it's just insane how price values shoot up, yet I feel the softness meter is going up for this generation of basketball. Now, I'll be honest. Like I said, I came to this country in '98. I was exposed to basketball in the early 2000s, and I took a long hiatus from being interested in sports after I moved out of LA, my family and I. And it wasn't until really 2015 I figured I'm going to get into sports ball again. And that was the season where Kobe Bryant started his retirement tour. But that was really the season, 2015-16 season, where I just fell in love with sports ball again, found more reason to love it, and could articulate why I love it so much, because sports is such a binary way to look at life, win or losing. But, as we live through it and suffer and enjoy from life, we realize that everything's just really just a shitty version of gray. 50 Shades of Grey. Go fucking burn that goddamn book. All you fucking idiots who are for book burning, burn that fucking book, please. But sports has such a simple way of making us see life through a very condensed space, right? Within a court, within a field, a pitch, whatever fucking sports ball setting it is in, it's a fucking life lesson spread throughout in each and every sport. But sports in general, win or lose, the idea always is the journey is worth more than the reward, the end, the goal. And we're literally seeing this process through The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, where Jordan didn't become the greatest of all time without having his trials and tribulations on the basketball court. Right now, they're showing the early parts of Jordan's tenure with the Bulls. Great scorer, early injuries, not enough teammates around him, and then the eventual maturing of the teammates, but running into brick walls like the Celtics, the Pistons, eventually the Lakers, and then the dynasty, right? It's the process that you have to see and appreciate. And I think what this generation in terms of basketball lacks is the process. It's the hardship. And a lot of these cats are coming 1 year out of college, right? Majority of these guys 1 year out of college. Drafted at 18, 19 years old. And generally all lack the maturity, the emotional awareness to handle themselves. And I think that in the most, in the most kind of bottled sense of how I view it, I think that weakens basketball, because you're funneling just younger kids to come into this league, and most of them just settle for mediocrity. and they're decent all around, but a lot of them just meh. And you're gonna fill the league with that just kind of madness. I don't know. I just kind of see it as a weakening of the league, and I understand that every NBA player is different. Every player drafted is different. Every player in a team is very different. Different backgrounds, different stories. I understand all that, but simultaneously, there is a part of me that still thinks this league isn't as physical as it once was. Even harkening back to when I was watching in the early 2000s, it's not even as physical as it was in 2003. And when you watch the tapes of the 80s and the 70s and the 60s and the 90s, it's like tapes don't lie. That's the one thing I truly do believe. Tapes do not lie, and that's why you have all this evidence here against me when my eventual demise comes, whenever that might be. We never know. You never know, right? Jordan didn't know that fucking shot against the Jazz would be the last for the Bulls. Like, nobody knew that, but here we are, sitting in history. Eventually, this shit's gonna be history. Quarantine will be a history, and it's gonna be an interesting mark in the history books. How will future generations remember this? What will you tell your grandkids? Well, if I live to be that age, what I will tell them is, I was the same extroverted introvert shut-in that I always was. But multiply that by however many fucking times this entire country had to just kind of close itself off. And it's crazy to me that there's two sides to how this country is handling COVID-19. There is the complete paranoia side, where you stock up the toilet paper, you buy all the fucking water bottles, so you gotta settle for Arrowhead, guys. Arrowhead is fucking disgusting. I don't want to fucking hear it, guys. But you got those people. And then the other side, you got the everything is a conspiracy. This disease is a lie concocted by the government some way, somehow. And we should be like Florida. After 26 minutes of Jacksonville just opening their beach, we should just completely flood the entire area with people. Yeah, so there's two extreme sides, but we gotta be in that disgusting murky gray, because that's where the real truth is. That's where we gotta find our solutions and shit. But because of just two really retarded sides, I mean, really just, oh my god, unbelievably stupid. I always take the cynical and the pessimistic estimations whenever people give a shit involving this fucking disease. Oh, it might take 6 to 8 months to open back. It's like, no. I'll take the over on that. I'll take the 12 and 18 months and up. The repercussions of what this entire country is doing right now will have ramifications for over a decade, obviously. But within the short stint of the next 5 years, yeah, it's gonna fuck up a lot of shit. I mean, obviously, sports. How are you gonna continue the season? How are you gonna figure out salaries and making back money on lost revenue on ticket sales and all merchandise and everything else? So lots of things to question, lots of things to think about. But when you got a 3-game rotation of Final Fantasy VII Remake, 2K20, and Sims 4, you don't have time to ask those questions anymore. Like me, I've just been kind of chilling with my weed, hydrating myself with tea, because again, Arrowhead water is disgusting. So what you do is very simple. Stock up on cheap Arrowhead water, boil it, put some tea bag in it, poof, you got gallons worth of supplies of tea, which is awesome to have with disgusting water. But kids, that'll do it for me this beautiful Monday. on 420. So follow me at the Sky Lounge. And all the links in the description below. Like, comment, subscribe for more daily content on this very contrived and rambling rant of an episode that we had today. Now, fuck off.